notes, but you already have them.
Yeah, I have. Mic's on.
Oh,
You just said thumbs up.
thanks. Sam's talking to people.
Maybe you want to get everybody to either sit down or find a spot to stand.
Yeah, I mean, we did say it's I'm actually just going to tell. Yeah. Oh, that's her phone.
Sorry.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Yes, yes. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Mayoral Forum hosted by the Annapolis Valley Chamber of Commerce. I thank you for your patience in getting people seated as best as possible. I am Nyla Frank Rogers, and I'm the Executive Director of the Chamber, and I'm delighted to see a packed room tonight. When we asked people to kind of pre-register so we had an idea of how many people were coming, obviously that doesn't always happen, but we had about 12 to 20 people on a list, and this is exactly not what we were expecting. So thank you so much for taking the time tonight to come and attend. And we have this virtually live stream. So if the room gets too hot or if you're becoming too uncomfortable, this is available on the Chamber's social channels for viewing after the event. So if you're uncomfortable at any means, don't feel like you have to stay. It's not rude. I don't think Jody or Wendy will be offended if anybody gets up. Maybe Wendy will. I don't know. So I'd like to begin tonight by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. A special welcome to our mayoral candidates, and thank you for being here to share your vision for our community. This forum is an important opportunity for residents and business leaders to engage directly with those who may soon be leading our town. The Chamber plays a vital role in connecting local businesses, government, and the community. And for those unfamiliar with our work, we support a thriving business environment, advocate for policies that promote economic growth, and provide opportunities for civic engagement, just like tonight's event. So we believe that informed voters are key to building a strong and vibrant community, which is why we've organized this forum and invited you all to come here. So before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsor, Nova Scotia Association of Realtors, and each candidate will receive a question from both the Chamber and the Association of Realtors. And our Chamber champion supporters, so Michelin, Eden Valley Poultry, the Ritzy Team Scotia Wealth Management, Wines of Nova Scotia, and Atlantic Poultry. And I would like to say a special thank you to Blue Cow Marketing, Sean over there, for recording the live streaming tonight, and special thanks to the Wolfville Legion for hosting us here. Your support makes events like this possible, and we deeply appreciate your leadership for the community. Lastly, I'm honored to introduce tonight's moderator, Raj Nayak. He's a board member of the Chamber, and we're pleased to have him here at his first Chamber event where he's hosting for us. So be easy on Raj tonight. This will be an engaging and fair discussion. This is not a debate. This is really fair. Everybody will have an equal opportunity to answer, and it's going to be a friendly, fun evening. Thank you all for being here, and we look forward for an insightful and informing evening. So, Raj, you can take it away.
You want to give me my sheet?
Yes, if you want your sheet, you can have your sheet.
Thank you. Thank you, Nyla. Welcome, everyone. My name is Raj Naik, and I'm, as Nyla suggested, one of the board members at the Chamber. I want to thank the participating candidates in today's events, and I look forward to your insights and the conversation we are going to have tonight. All right. We will give the candidates an opportunity to introduce themselves in a minute, but we're pleased to welcome the town of Wolfville mayoral candidates Jody McKay and Wendy Donovan. Earlier, we drew for speaking order. Speaking first will be Wendy Donovan, followed by Jody McKay. I just wanted to go over a few rules for introductory comments, followed by one business-related question from the chamber and one housing-related question from the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. And then we will move on to questions that have been submitted by the public, either online or at the door today. We may not be able to get through all the questions, but there are a lot of similar questions which we have grouped together, and we're hoping that at least the common themes will be addressed. All candidates will have equal opportunity to respond to all questions with 2 minutes per question. At approximately 8:10 p.m., I will provide the candidates 3 minutes to offer closing comments in reverse orders of the opening statements. There are no cameras, video, or audio taping except by the chamber. The event will be recorded and broadcast publicly, like Nyla mentioned, on the chamber's YouTube channel and saved with captions for continued viewing. There are to be no signs and no posters present in the hall. Pamphlets may be handed out after the forum. I ask the candidates to respect the timer so everyone gets an equal opportunity and equal amount of time to speak. So without any further ado, I think we can start off with the first question from the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. Oh, sorry. There you go. Like I said, this is the first time. So let's start with the introductions. So Wendy, if you want to go first. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I thought I'd missed a whole part of the evening. Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber for organizing this. I'm Wendy Donovan. Is this mic on? Yeah. Oh, I guess I'll come much closer. All right. My apologies. Wendy Donovan, I'm proud to serve as the current mayor of the town of Wolfville. I'll give you a little bit about me. Jim and I moved to Wolfville in 2007, and until 2020, we lived in the core, so on Gasbro, just this side of Acadia Street. And then in 2020, we moved to the east side of town in Whispering Creek. We have a blended family. We have 3 grown-up sons, 2 grown-up daughters, 5, and we learned this week a half-grandchild, and a lovely Labradoodle named Sagan. I'm an avid gardener, and I'm also past president and current member of Mud Creek Rotary. I attended, not Acadia, unfortunately, I attended the University of Waterloo for my BA and my MA, and then I spent my working career in recreation and community development. Both as a municipal employee, I had a number of positions. I was a director of Parks and Recreation in a township, a rural township. I worked in inner city communities in the city of Toronto, and I was manager of recreation and administration for the city of Burlington before I decided for another career change. And in the late 90s, I became the managing partner of a recreation and library consulting firm that worked with municipalities across Canada. So my working life has been spent with municipalities. So once we settled in Wolfville, I wanted to bring my skills to what I considered the other side of the table, that being council. And in 2012, I ran and was successful as a councillor in Wolfville. I had 2 terms as a municipal councillor. In 2020, I became mayor. And I must say that I rely a great deal on my community development experience, which for me means connecting with people where they are and working with them to find solutions. During this past term, I believe substantial progress was made in upgrading our infrastructure, significant housing plans, exciting plans for a new town library, fire hall, town hall, and work with regional partners on waste management and King's Transit. But as much as one accomplishes, there's always still so much more to do. As I go door to door, traffic is what I hear. Housing affordability and availability, readiness for climate impacts, and of course, taxes. And so with our ever-changing world and increased demands from climate change, population shifts, and financial inequities, I believe my leadership experience and my approach to leadership is more important now than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Jody, the mic is yours.
Great. Thanks, Raj. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. For the past 20 years, Wolfville has been my home, and I'm honored to be standing before you as a mayoral candidate for the town that I love so much. My husband, Renee, and I aren't originally from here, but we chose to settle down and raise our son, Cooper, who's now 16, in this wonderful community. Over the years, we've built lasting friendships and truly embraced everything this town has to offer. As parents, we've enjoyed immersing ourselves in school activities, sports teams, and community events. Both Renee and I are passionate volunteers, whether it's through our school endeavors or coaching Cooper's teams. I've also dedicated time to local charities that mean a lot to me. I grew up in Charlottetown, PEI, and attended UPEI for my business degree before continuing my studies in management accounting at St. Mary's in Halifax. My professional experience spans government, public accounting, entrepreneurship, and healthcare administration, giving me a strong foundation in strategy, budgeting, management, and leadership. Through my years on council, I've always relied on my core values: accountability, critical thinking, hard work, and integrity. These values guide my approach to every challenge and decision. My key priorities are community engagement, infrastructure and asset development, relationship building, and communication. Over the last 8 years, I've gained valuable experience on various committees, including accessibility advisory, audit, planning, RCMP, King's Transit, the police review, Annapolis Valley Trails, our council review policy, and our economic task force. As deputy mayor for 2 years, I had the privilege of working closely with Mayor Cantwell, learning firsthand about leadership and mentorship. I've been told my collaborative approach helps to foster inclusive decision-making. During my time on the Planning Advisory Committee, we tackled challenging projects like the municipal planning strategy and several complex development agreements. These experiences have taught me how to handle tough decisions while making sound decisions. As mayor, I would like to bring my experience and skills to create a shared community vision, develop a strategic plan, ensure the budget supports it. I believe in keeping you, the residents, informed through open communication while building trust and engagement across our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. And now we'll do the host questions. It's a good thing I have a charming personality. Right? Yeah. So first question is from the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. And the question is, Nova Scotians are concerned about affordability. What will you do while on council to help improve housing affordability and the cost of living for residents? Jody, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, housing has been a large topic. As I make my way through town through meet and greets, there's been a wide range of discussion and thoughts on the topic. While none of them entirely wrong, it makes for a challenging middle ground. Conversations reminded me of a conference I took in Halifax about 5 years prior, excuse me, where the Antigonish Affordable Housing Association was presenting. In 2017, they opened up housing and are now have 28 affordable housing units occupied today. Recently, they just started development of 17 additional homes, and they are 1, 2, 3 and bedroom homes, providing community members with beautiful places to live at an affordable price. This didn't happen by any one party alone. Through partnerships and financial support from Antigonish Town, County, provincial and federal governments, community groups, the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corp, and East Coast Credit Union, they made it happen. This is a model we can look to. Currently in Wolfville, the province is looking at housing options on Dale Street and looking to engage our community groups, our municipalities, and our private investment. Concurrently in Wolfville, we are advocating for anti-poverty legislation through the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. When I listened to the county's mayoral forum, they too said you can't take on housing, it's expensive, but they are open to having discussions and talking about new initiatives. Now is the time to have those discussions with fresh, new ideas. Addressing these issues won't be easy, they won't happen overnight, but if we come together and stop placing the blame on each other, talk without judgment, communicate openly, we can find long-term community solutions.
Sorry. I would say three things. First of all, we have embraced the concept density in our community. It is housing that we build that is in higher density, that has smaller lots, that is in higher units. I know many people feel that that's not Wolfville, but those are the kinds of things that will help us create housing that is affordable for empty nesters, for young families, for young professionals. And I strongly support densification at the same time as creating complete communities. I would not like to see Wolfville be a community with very dense neighborhoods where there was nothing to do. I believe a complete community is a place where you can recreate, where there are trails, where there are a place to get coffee, a place to get a carton of milk. And so I'm hoping as we go forward with our new developments, we really focus on not only density, but also livable density. I was pleased, as was all of council, to have some participation with some initiatives that the province will do to create mixed housing in some of their social housing areas. That's a new project that's going to come to the town, and that will help us provide a combination of affordable housing, very deeply affordable housing, as well as market housing. And that's a new trend that I embrace that will create some affordability. And the last thing, and something that has been very close to my heart for the last year, I have a real concern about people who are currently unhoused, excuse me, and people that we know are just a month away from being unhoused. I've reached out to Minister Lohr. I've asked for a meeting with him, as has our CAO. We need some funding. Right now, the organization that is looking after people who are unhoused or about to be unhoused.
Okay, Wendy, I think we have 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. The second host question from the chamber is, small businesses are the backbone of our community's economy. If elected, what specific policies or initiatives will you implement to foster a thriving business environment, support local entrepreneurs, and encourage sustainable economic growth in the town of Wolfville? Wendy, you can go first.
I'll go first and I'll be quick. I would do two things. I think that we need to create spaces for co-working. I've been talking to the WBDC about that for maybe 12 years. We have many people in our town who work from home, but would still like an opportunity to have spaces where they could have a boardroom or meet with other people. So I think that's something that the town can do along with the WBDC. When we did the Mayor's Task Force on Economic Development, we know that a municipality can contribute to strong businesses by making sure that there are things in the community like childcare, like housing, like good public transit. Those are things that business employers need for their employees. And the last thing I'd like to do, and I'm going to touch a bit on traffic. Often our traffic is related to coming in to work with our businesses, and I would like to work with our businesses in town and our businesses, particularly our wineries in the region, for some type of traffic solution. It could be hop on, hop off buses. There are probably a variety of things, car parks so that people don't have to come through downtown. But I think dealing with traffic will be one way to help our businesses. There's too many people that say, I sat in traffic for an hour, I'm not coming back to Wolfville. So I think by providing the kind of amenities that businesses need to attract employees and working with our businesses to manage those things that are irritants, the town can be a partner with our business community.
Thank you, Wendy. Jody.
Thank you, Raj. There are many things the town can do to contribute to business development in effective ways. We can invest in our infrastructure, our roads, our sidewalks, and make them more accessible. We can look at zoning and land use planning to accommodate new business and mixed-use development that encourage vibrant economies. We can do incentive and grants. We have Bill 177 enabled in our municipal planning strategy that allows tax deference and reduction to attract the type of businesses we want. We can support services and workforce development through our partnerships with the Wolfville Business Development Corporation and the Regional Enterprise Network. We can do marketing and promotion, promote the town as a great place to live and work. Our Wolfville social media and our When in Wolfville through the WBDC does a wonderful job of this. We can collaborate with local organizations like Acadia and business associations to foster a cooperative atmosphere and facilitate resource sharing so we can do more intentional planning together. And we can do quality of life enhancements. Investing in our parks and our recreation facilities and activities make the town more attractive to potential businesses, employees. This term, the current mayor, Council Madera Boss, and I did a lot of interviews to inform economic development, but this data just hasn't been put into action. Wolfville should continue to work with staff and through our partnerships with the Wolfville Business Development Corporation and its membership, Acadia and the Valley Wren, to encourage diversity in the options to invest in our town economics. It's time to put these things into action and increase our commercial offerings and tax base.
Thank you, Jody. And now we'll be using the questions that have been sent to us online or through the door, at the door. So starting with the first question, what would you consider to be the biggest opportunity for the town of Wolfville, and how would you work towards achieving it? Jody.
Our biggest one? I think our biggest opportunity is collaboration. I think we can collaborate effectively with other municipalities to address our shared challenges and enhance our public services. We can do these things through shared service agreements, pooling resources, intermunicipal service agreements, regional partnerships, communication, collaborative funding initiatives, engagement, advocacy, and knowledge sharing. We do some of these things now through our King's Transit and Valley Waste and our regional emergency management. And I think there's one example I can share. The Annapolis Valley Trails Coalition was having a challenging time in getting its funding. Staffing was changing, and the structure needed to be changed and revamped. So Emily Lutz, Danny Finney from the Trails Group, and myself got together to explore the options. And the board decided to move forward in a similar manner as the Regional Emergency Management Corporation. And this would allow the trails to be funded, maintained in a cohesive manner from one end to the other. I think that we need to do more collaboration, leverage our resources and our expertise to address all of the challenges we have collectively. Our borders are just invisible. So I think if we do more together, we can be better successful.
Thank you, Jody. Wendy.
Okay, for me, that's an easy one. I think our biggest opportunity is the buildings that are in the middle of our town, and that's Acadia University. We are so blessed to have that university. There are opportunities for us to collaborate on housing, and these are not pie in the sky. These are discussions that are already going on. We have a unique and one of the first in the country memorandum of understanding with Acadia that allows us to do these things. We can work on housing. We have already started talking to Acadia about economic development opportunities. We have started talking about recreation opportunities. They have a lot of space. We don't have a lot of space, but we often have the same needs. We have had some discussions with the new nursing school. I can only imagine how many opportunities in the future that new nursing school and its graduates will have for our community. and the cultural space. I'm sure that there are many of us who attend the performing arts, who attend the sport activities at Acadia. The opportunities of students. We in the town, many students who work for us, many former students have worked for us permanently and sometimes work as co-op students. So the opportunities with Acadia, I believe, are just, we haven't begun to touch the surface of those opportunities. And I have been so pleased that the relationship with Acadia just continues to grow. So I would say that's our greatest opportunity, whether it's business or housing or recreation.
Thank you, Wendy. Going on to question number 2. Wolfville's growth as a popular destination has led to significant traffic bottlenecks that often paralyze the town. If elected, what innovative solutions or plans will you bring to the new council to balance the needs of residents and businesses with the influx of tourists, ensuring effective traffic management? Wendy?
Thank you. I'll give you a number of solutions. And traffic management is a huge crossing. I think a lot of our traffic is actually impeded by, I think this is working, is impeded by pedestrians. I would like to see a minor change. Instead of just push the button and cross, I would like to see, you know, that green hand that you push the button, wait 5 minutes. We can time those so that cars can move, pedestrians can cross. I would certainly bring that to our budget discussions. As I mentioned earlier, I would like to collaborate with our regional partners for some kind of hop-off, hop-on bus with parking on the outskirts of our town. I would like to see some decentralization of our commercial. We have opportunities at Highland and Skyway. We have future opportunities in the East End. We have a number of units already under development where we have approved commercial down below. I do not want to undermine the viability of those stores that are already downtown, but as our town grows, people are going to need to have coffee shops or get prescriptions, and that doesn't all have to happen downtown. So I would do those things. I would make small changes with some of our pedestrian crossings. I have always been in favor of lights, traffic lights. I don't know where we're going on that. 2 years ago, we talked about microtransit in the town. That's kind of gone on the back burner. I think once King's Transit has its plans out there, the town should go back and look at what microtransit might do in the town. So I think there's some little things, there are some big things. If I have a minute left, I would like to see when there is construction on the 101 that they communicate with our staff. So if you don't want to come into Wolfville, but you're diverted into Wolfville, put a detour, go up along the ridge. Little things like that, if we just were together,
Thank you, Wendy.
we could manage our traffic.
Jody?
Thank you, Raj. Well, this certainly has been a hot topic at the doors. It seems that every election year there's a highway shutdown and the increase in traffic comes down through our core. Over the years, there has been some discussion on our four-way stop and various other traffic flow issues. A set of lights is not in our capital budget and wasn't really discussed at length during this term. We did have one discussion, albeit brief, about the lights or maybe implementing a roundabout could be implemented if approved when any construction at Town Hall site was done. Over the years, Council has had many suggestions to alleviate the problems. A traffic control person, taking out the stop signs and going back to the old way, and recently a suggestion of moving the crosswalks back from the intersection so pedestrians could cross behind the cars. It has been several years since we've done a traffic study. I looked at the whole Main Street as one thoroughfare. A light may indeed work, but we can put up temporary lights to see if that flow moves. If it does, where are the next pressure points? Are they further down Main Street? We have crosswalks, so is the flow simply moving from one space to the next stoppage? I hear on the west end of town, which is where I live, that the West University and Main is their main pain point. I'd like to embark on looking at the Main Street as a whole, as one experience is different depending on the direction you take. We should look at our crosswalks and which ones are essential and safe, and implement the proper treatments to them, flashing lights, pedestrian stop lights, whatever is most appropriate for that location. If we can implement some quick changes and evaluate flow, it could influence our larger investment going forward. Our engagement and communication will be key on trying these options. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Question number 3. What strategies will you use to improve transparency and communication between the municipal government and residents, ensuring that community voices are heard in decision-making processes? I think, Jody, you go first on this one.
Okay. I think the most important thing that we can do is engagement. When we started this term, we had COVID, of course, so we were behind screens most of our time, but our engagement has just seemed to be falling off. It is one of my pillars. I really do believe we need to meet people where they are. We need to come out and hear what they're saying and actually listen. We need to do a communication plan so we can tell our residents what is happening in the town. I hear over and over again that people just don't know. We've also had an incredible turnover in our town over the last 4 years. Houses on the market have sold, so there's a whole new demographic and a whole new base of residents, and they don't know what we've done in the past. We need to share that information. And to build transparency and trust, I think we actually have to do what we say we're going to do. If we say we're going to do the projects, we need to put them in our plans, communicate them, and actually complete them. That is the only way to build trust.
Thank you, Jody. Wendy.
Thank you. I, as well, was frustrated during COVID because one of the things that was my platform last time was to do what I call quarterly listening sessions. Those are different than council sessions. We did a few of those during the MPS. These are just meetings where we can sit in a room and you can ask council questions. I think we have got a little bit too formal. We used to have committee of the whole and council meetings at the evening. It was more feasible for staff to be there during the day. I'd like to revisit that so that people who are working have an opportunity to be in the gallery. I would love to figure out a way to bring people into the gallery and listen to actual council meetings. Often, if not 99% of the time, our consultation is held by staff. Council is, of course, able to be there, but it's kind of an afterthought, and I think that's something we need to look at. And the other thing I would like to do at our committee of the whole and perhaps council meeting, we have a process called CAO report, and the CAO updates us on what staff are doing. I've often thought that we need to spend more time on that so that it's not just a information to council from the CAO, but an opportunity for council to actually sit and have a dialogue back and forth with staff. A lot of what people find frustrating, and this does not reflect on our staff, but they find it frustrating that when they ask questions about why, I had a question today about why is there a bump in front of the tatting stone? I have no idea. That's operational. So as members of council, we need more information from our staff so that we in turn can answer the questions which invariably come to us. I think there's also, we need to have a culture change. I love budgets. I try and get people to come out and listen. That is our major policy opportunity, and the gallery is never full. So somehow we have to make those exciting and let residents know these are the times we make our decisions for you.
Thank you. Question number 4. Wolfville's population has grown steadily younger, leading to some disconnect among older residents. What role do you think younger residents, both professionals and students, have in Wolfville's future, especially in light of this generational tension? What will you do as mayor to ensure both their interests are represented? Wendy?
I'd like to, I think one of the things that in our housing initiatives will allow young people to stay in Wolfville. Our work with Acadia has the potential to create ongoing jobs, whether those are research jobs. We have a computer science, we have robotics programs. So I would like to work with Acadia to figure out how we can keep students here. Young people have children. They may only be having one child now, but they need daycare. We need to provide that so that our students and our young people have opportunities to have a life in this town. I actually do not really experience sometimes around homecoming when there's disagreements on party nights, but I find our residents, by and large, are quite happy to have young people in town and benefit from that. So I'm not sure that I'm not saying that there's not from time to time a disagreement, but actually is not something I experience. I hear many of our older residents talk about how lovely it is to have the young people back and how wonderful it is, the Smile program they do, the fundraising they do. So I'm not sure that I would agree with you with your question that there is a disparaging feelings between young people and older people. I think we just need to have opportunities for us to meet as generations and experience each other and experience the opportunities that both generations can bring.
Thank you, Wendy. Jody?
Thank you, Raj. It was interesting when I came on council 8 years ago. The reason why I came on council was because I had a young family. That was good. Okay. Had a young family, and the council had cut all of the recreation programs for families. There was no after school, no before school, no anything at all. So election was coming up, so I put my name forward. Recreation has come back. We've added many more programming to our offerings. And at that time, we also said had a great deal, we had the missing middle is what we used to call it. So there was nobody in this demographic that I was in, or not very many. Our school shrunk in size. We had to fight to keep it. We renovated it. And now that isn't the case. We've got a vibrant young community again. I think we should engage them. I think the first thing we need to do when we come back in session is community visioning. What do we see for our town? Get them engaged. We need recreation facilities. We need healthcare. We need childcare. We need to just get them out and engage them and see what it is they want. I think we do have a plethora of offerings now, and we're going to invest in our parks, and we're going to invest in recreation with Acadia, I'm sure. And I think we just, if we do that, it will naturally happen.
Thank you, Jody. Question number 5. The heavy traffic in Wolfville poses serious risks to pedestrian safety, especially at crosswalks and in areas with high student population. If elected, what measures do you propose to improve pedestrian safety throughout the town?
We've already,
Yeah, we've already. All right.
Just too good.
That was easy.
I thought I'd done that.
All right, that makes it easier. So we can go on to the next question. Climate change and environmental sustainability are pressing issues. What specific actions will you take to promote green initiatives, reduce the town's carbon footprint, and prepare for the impacts of climate change? Jody, go first.
Thanks. I think our carbon resilience is something we are committed to. The aspects are adaptation, mitigation. We can do sustainable practices and infrastructure development. About 7 years ago, Wolfville declared a climate emergency, and since then, council and staff have been working together to look at every project through an environmental lens. Wolfville has chosen electric vehicles, solar power, and we've also joined other municipalities in the Pace and Switch program to assist homeowners to retrofit their homes and upgrade them to make them greener. This program was actually fully subscribed in the first round, and council increased its uptake. Wolfville is also engaging in some conversations with the province on flood risk mitigation and heightening the dikes. Wolfville is doing some work with consultants to look at our infrastructure, to look at stormwater management. I do believe Wolfville is committed to climate mitigation and adaptation, and we should continue to work on those initiatives.
Thank you, Jody. Wendy?
I would agree. I think the town has put a great deal of effort into this. Some of the points have already been mentioned. King's Transit has received a fair $14 million for the electrification of its buses. That will certainly help. When we build new buildings, they will be net zero. We've had at least one, and I know of a second development that may come to town that is net zero. We have, I believe if we decentralize commercial and we do some things around microtransit, as well as our active transportation plan, which we haven't talked about, but that is quite exciting, to get people out of cars or get people out of personal cars will help. I'm excited. I read today that the Joint Regional Transportation Authority is about to come out with its report at the end of the month. That the part that the article I saw deals with Halifax, but that service will come out and embrace, come around Kentville and Truro and Bridgewater. So the opportunity for us, for those of us who live in Wolfville, to get back and forth to the city without having to take our cars is an amazing opportunity. So I think around transit, around active transit, around net zero development, and a culture change that I know will not be good for everyone. I spoke to a woman who has a 94-year-old mom who's not going to not use her car. But those of us who have the ability to bike, and once we have safe bike lanes, walk in this town that's really not that big, will help us over time reduce those emissions. And I believe we can do it. I know we can do it.
Thank you, Wendy. Next question. Do you view Acadia University and its students as an asset or as a liability to the town? What tangible actions would you take to either pursue a better relationship or distance the town from the university, and why? So,
who's that, me first? Well, I've already said that I think Acadia is our greatest asset, so my answer for that is maybe partially given. We have an MOU. We have an amazing relationship with Acadia now. We were sad to see our CAO go, but she went to Acadia, so now we have a great relationship with somebody who was our CAO for 9 years. Acadia has opened itself to basically, instead of saying no to things, they say, let's talk about it. So I think that the university itself is an asset. The university has land. The university has bright young students and faculties that can support economic development. They have a wonderful lab. They have a wine lab. They have a TIC lab, which, if you haven't heard about it, is quite exciting, that actually provides support to local businesses. So I think that the sky is the limit with Wolfville and Acadia if we open our hearts to each other and work together as we seem to be doing now.
Thank you, Wendy. Jody?
Thank you. Our relationship with Acadia has been revitalized over the last few years. It has new energy and it has new commitments and new investments in our joint initiatives. Acadia contributes significantly to the local economy through employment, student spending, and partnerships with our local businesses. Acadia is engaged as a partner in our Wolfville gift card program with the town and the WBDC. Acadia brings us many cultural and intellectual benefits, public lectures, performances, and major events to our town. Some events that are coming up is the Nova Scotia Music Week, which I'm co-chairing with Nick from the Events Acadia. We've got pre-Olympic trials coming, and we can't forget to mention the CFL game that came to town that afforded us exposure beyond what the town could do by itself. Acadia students offer SMILE, Change Program, Kinder Skills. They coach our teams. They're our student teachers. They're a huge part of our community. I know my family has greatly benefited from them. They have lifelong learning. They do our heart rehab program. They work on inclusion programming with us. They do our summer programming with our kids. We do a great deal together. I think Acadia is an amazing asset in our community, and it will just continue to foster and grow. And we had a meeting, the last one we went to, Councillor Ingham was actually there at that one, and it was the best meeting we've ever had. It was so energetic. We were hitting outcomes, and we still have our eye on the future. I think it is very bright.
Thanks, Jody. Next question. How will you attract new businesses and investment to the area while ensuring support for existing local businesses? Jody?
I think we have to do a whole new program on retention and bringing people in. I know the Valley Wren has a very good program on that. We need to be engaging in them. We actually stepped away from membership with them for a few years, and we're back in, so I think we can definitely engage in that. I have sat on the WBDC board, the Wolfville Business Development Corporation's board, for the last 2 years. That board is highly engaged and have really bright ideas for what's to come. I think they are going to be the key. We don't have an economic development office in the town itself, but I think partnering with them and Acadia, we can build a program together that has a community vision with supports in place for those that are currently with us and still fill the gaps of the needs that our residents have in our downtown core.
Thank you, Jody. Wendy?
Okay, thank you. I think I sit on the Valley Wren. We did step away for a few years. I'm very excited by the things that it's doing in our community, and I think strengthening and being a real partner with the Valley Wren is good for us. Wolfville is a small town, 7 square kilometers. We're not going to have a Michelin in our area, but we can certainly have the benefit of those kinds of businesses and provide amenities to support them. I would like to expand our commercial base. We have less than 8% commercial tax base. We should have about 25, so I would like to expand that in the town. And the third thing, and I feel very strongly about this, the town's role, in addition to supporting groups like the WBDC and the Valley Wren, is really to make sure that the amenities, the recreation programs, the childcare, the healthcare spaces, not the healthcare, but healthcare spaces, and housing, and the trails that make us a wonderful town are there to attract businesses because they can attract employees. I'm probably going to run out of time, but when I was doing recreation consulting, the number one thing that places like Michelin, who wanted the Leisure Lifestyle Center in Lunenburg, said, we need these kinds of places to attract the families who will work in our community. And we cannot underestimate those things, and that the town is really amongst the people who will provide those.
Thank you, Wendy. Jody?
I already did.
We already
She's done
did.
it.
Repeat?
Just going back.
Do you want to go again? You can go again.
It's okay.
All right, next question. What is your vision for enhancing cultural, recreational, and leisure opportunities in the municipality? And how will you support the arts, sports, and community activities? This one's
Who is that? Sorry. Well, partnership. We have. We're a small town, but we do have access to great cultural opportunities, and I would like to see us. We have not in recent years had as much access to places like the ATF and some of the other venues, and I think that there's an opportunity to discuss that with Acadia so that we can enhance community access for practicing. I know Women of Wolfville is always looking for places to practice, and they used to practice at the ATF, and now the price is beyond their ability. I think we can do that kind of thing. I think that, I'm sorry, can you quickly do that again? Recreation. I'll very quickly talk about recreation from the perspective of the pool. We have been back and forth with Acadia. 4 years ago, the thing at the door was, we need the pool. Acadia had closed the pool. The region has been talking about a regional recreation center. Acadia was in the mix, but not really. I would like to go back and talk to Acadia because there are some changes in the mix in Kings County with respect to their deed transfer, if you heard the last debate. I think that we should have a serious discussion with Acadia, which is possible now, didn't seem to be possible before, to say, can we as a community look at your quite old facilities and maybe have enhanced facilities in our area? I don't know if that's a possibility, but I want to have that discussion with them.
Thank you, Wendy. Jody?
Thank you. Yes, we did have some discussions on a regional recreation facility, but I too watched the mayoral candidates in the County of Kings, and none of them supported a regional recreational facility. So when it comes to, if that's indeed what they wish for the next term, I think the most logical step for us is to go to Acadia. They are putting information together, and they have been for the last little bit, on their assets for what their needs are and what they need for growth. I think that if they have a good plan, then it would be investable by us and maybe other municipalities. As we go around town, I have heard from many people, especially our seniors, that the pool is very, very important. They rely on it for safe exercise options. It's also a place for our swim teams and our kids to learn how to swim. Our track, the track there is also used quite extensively as our exercise classes. And as I've noted before, they do the heart and stroke rehabilitation there. There's a shortage of gym space, and I would be interested in exploring that option with them as well, which then opens it up to not just sporting activities, but practices for things like the Women of Wolfville, Stage Profits, and all of the other wonderful community theater we have in town. I think recreation facilities are essential for our community's mental and physical well-being, and I think it's imperative that we invest in that wellness, and I'm hoping that'll be a partnership with Acadia.
Thank you, Judy. Next question. Wolfville has a unique demographic. How will you strengthen the town's plan to become a more inclusive community? Judy, you go first.
This has been a major topic for our council this term. I can say the council had an incredibly engaged representative on our regional diversity committee and at the County of Kings, and she was a driving force in a lot of what happened around the table. Lately, we recognize more holiday celebrations than we ever have. We honor International Women's Day, Truth and Reconciliation with Acadia. We do recreation programming for many ages and abilities. We have the Memory Cafe that goes with our Wolfville recreation staff and Dr. Cassidy, and it is award-winning. Our fall welcome event continues to grow, and we've reinvigorated the International Host Program with Acadia. We have soups and sides on both campus and in the community, and it's been renewed for another year, continuing to support community. Oven is also one of the ways we include many people around supporting inclusion around food. We use plain language. We've also offered accommodations in our meetings, live streaming, captioning, and our social media posts have descriptions. We are being more mindful and thoughtful and inviting everyone to the town. Further to this, we have an accessibility plan. We work towards all ages and abilities in every new design. I think it's about 38% of our population that is disabled, and these individuals must be considered in our projects, whether it's programming or asset development. Our Clock Park is about to be paved, so that is accessible to all. We have had conversations with our businesses on accessibility in their spaces. And we just recently added our anti-racism committee, which I think is now being recruited for. So I think all of these are really important initiatives that we've done and continue to work on and build on to include everyone in our community.
Thank you, Jody. Wendy?
All right, thank you. I won't repeat that because those are all the things that the town is doing. 3 things that I've had an opportunity to do that just demonstrates the expansion of our of the diversity in our community. 2 weeks ago, I was invited to attend the Wolfville Mosque, which, if you are not sure where it is, it's up at the top of Highland. I was excited when they came to council and asked for a zoning change so that they could build the mosque, which is not built yet, and with a daycare and community center. I've attended a number of Ramadan dinners, fundraising dinners that exposed me, and it was open to all of council, but certainly exposed me to parts of our community that I had not necessarily connected with before. I also attended the Black Student Awards dinner last winter, which connected me with some young people that I have continued to keep in contact with. And as a town, we have opportunities. This week is the week of to remember tomorrow actually is the day to remember missing and murdered Aboriginal people. There have been events all week at Acadia that the town has been involved in. I will be there speaking tomorrow morning, and I had a chance to speak on Tuesday at the Maui Omi. So the more the town gets involved with our diverse communities, the better it is for us. I personally had a chance to work on the committee that brought 4 Syrian families into our community. It truly was a highlight of my life in this town, and friendships that I maintain to this day. So as council and as individuals, we have many opportunities to share the diversity of our community, and I look forward to that going forward.
Thank you, Wendy. Next question. Since the population increased, which means an increase of property tax, as the properties were reassessed, how was this influx of cash flow being used or planned to be used? I think Wendy goes first.
Okay, well, first I would say our population has not yet increased. So when that happens, we will have a larger tax base and we will have some more wiggle room with some of the things that we need to do. Taxes have gone up, but as taxes have gone up, because as people come into town, they buy houses, they are more expensive and therefore their assessment goes up. The town has received more finances, more tax finances, but at the same time, both our costs of operating the town and the demands of the community for amenities in the town go up. So in fact, there was not a windfall of funding for the town. It is allowing us to keep pace with people's demands. People have asked me, you know, how can we get our tax rate down? We can put our tax rate down, but as a community, we're going to have to decide what we want to cut. Do we want to not have a pool? Do we not want to put more money into street lights? I do not believe there's a lot of fluff in the town budget. We spend 4 or 5 months a year, and we just wrestle with every dollar that we put in there. We may have to make hard decisions, but I think that is something we do as a community.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Our tax rate is 1.4655, and it is fairly standard, an average rate across the board. The assessments of our homes in Wolfville are higher than most of our neighbors, and therefore the adult is higher. And I know affordability is tough with the rising costs, and I understand the taxes paid out of your pocket are just that. The rates have stayed consistent over the last 4 years, and we have been mindful in our budgeting constraints. What I hope council will look at going forward is looking at more commercial tax revenue so that we can offset some of the residential burden. I hope we look at other streams of income. Other municipalities are diversifying the way they collect funds so that we can help the residential tax base. I think we need to continue to budget properly and complete our jobs. I'm a big believer in evaluating what goes into the project. Can we afford it and accomplish it? It's the value that is important and the most bang for our buck for our residents. I think we need to finish the jobs that we set out in our budget to do. This year, we didn't finish 15 capital projects, and our work in progress went up almost 400%. This has to mean we have inefficiencies in our organization that must be passed on to the taxpayer. So I look forward to a robust discussion with council and staff on how to cut down silos, increase efficiency, and build trust with our taxpayers in completing the projects we said we will do.
Thank you very much, Jody. I have one last question here. In a small town with finite tax revenue, kindly comment why a HALO project has been moving forward, moving the library.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Can you kindly comment why a HALO project has been moving forward, the moving of the library?
Don't know what a HALO project is.
Okay. Well, 3-minute closing statements from the candidates. So Jody, you'll go first.
Thank you, Bosh. Well, as we come into tonight's discussion, I knew I would need to share some final thoughts. And since I'm not one who naturally sells myself with words, I believe in letting my actions speak. I had to reflect on others, what others tell me about my strengths. So I've been described as a relationship builder, a team player, approachable, and always prepared. I'm often the person people turn to when they need to talk things through, and I take pride in being a good listener and offering support. I love helping others grow, whether through a compliment, building confidence, or mentoring without hesitation. You'll often find me around the community, volunteering at school events, spending time at the Legion, attending local music or varsity sports, or simply enjoying a meal at one of our local restaurants. My part-time job is flexible. It gives me the time to truly dedicate myself to this role as mayor, and I've developed strong time management skills from juggling years of work, volunteering, and raising a family. I'm confident that together with an engaged and prepared council, we'll tackle the challenges ahead and seize every opportunity to enhance life in Wolfville. I stay current with my modern work styles while keeping an eye on the future. And I bring a wide perspective influenced by my own experience, whether it's raising a teenager or thinking about my parents as they age. I am committed to ensuring from the very start that our council will be united and ready for work. Transparency and accountability will always be our priority, and I will focus on open communication on both within and outside the organization. My slogan, Building Better Together, is at the heart of everything I do. It's about collaboration, listening, and truly hearing each other. If there's one thing I hope to be remembered for, it's being someone who listened, made people feel heard, and valued their voices. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jody. Wendy?
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to the Chamber and the Legion for organizing this event. Elections are about the kind of leadership that we want to guide us through the opportunities as well as the challenges that will invariably be ahead of us. For the past 4 years, I've had the honor of serving as your mayor, and I'm committed to continuing to be a working mayor, whether it's through scheduled council meetings, phone calls, emails, so many emails, visits with residents at their home or mine, or in my office, collaboration with community groups, or other levels of government. There's much for the mayor to do. Our town is growing, and we're blessed to be one of Nova Scotia's most beloved tourist destinations. We're home to a vibrant university, and like many communities, we're facing challenges. Some of our residents face housing and food insecurity, and I have spent the last year working diligently trying to find a solution to that. As a town, we know we must address the pressing realities of climate change. These issues require thoughtful leadership, a compassionate, proactive approach, lots of collaboration and information seeking, and leadership experience. I'm committed to working with anyone and everyone who can help Wolfville reach its full potential, whether securing financial support, fostering a caring, inclusive community, or ensuring that we retain that unique character that makes Wolfville so special for those of you fortunate to grow up here and those of us who choose to make it our home, even as we grow. While there are those in the town who feel the role of mayor is simply to chair council and be the town's spokesperson, I view the role differently. True leadership is about bringing people together, building partnerships, and working tirelessly to create a brighter future, even if that means facing inevitable headwinds that anyone trying to manage change will face. I promise I will continue to be that kind of mayor, one who listens, one who acts, one who brings people together around a table to solve problems and find realistic solutions. And if that resonates with you, I'd be honored for your support.
Thank you, Wendy. I'd like to thank both the candidates for their time, for coming in this evening. I'd like to thank all of you for coming in this evening and everyone that has supported this event for the successful delivery of this event. So have a good night. Thank you very much.